All right, I'm going to make a really weird video about. First of all, I'm gonna say that unless my brain is on point, I tend to make the wrong queries to the AI, and the AI is not gonna be good if you make it bad. Here's example of bad queries, like, "Hey, is Google biased towards making Gemini better than OpenG?" Like, these are bad queries. Like, mm, I like queries where you kind of try to you probe the AI for both the positive and negative hypothesis. So what I wanted to know was, uh, I need to read the damn thing. I lost. It's on my other computer. You just probe Gemini. Gemini's pretty good. What AI is good at, because AI has at its fingertips all the studies ever done by humanity, and uh, if you probe the data, you can draw some pretty interesting conclusions. One is that alloparenting. Um, I read about this. Some was it Galen who told me about this? Like, for most of human history, parenting was shared by the village. So even if the mother had a child, you live in a village, everyone's kind of close together, kids run around the village, they're taken care of by everybody. The village functions as a basic unit, right? Um, Now, I mean, we're gonna have to put some provisions here. Like, that's a bit of a clickbait title. I mean, there's so many factors in this, but I mean, apparently this allo parenting, um, according to the AI, this is the what our brains are kind of wired for. So what that means is in human history versus the industrial revolution, well, the industrial revolution created the nuclear family dynamic because we needed highly mobile labor forces. So breaks down a village, right? And what's interesting is that allo parenting is actually the normal thing. Who knew? What I mean by that is 99% of humanity has lived through alloparenting, and 1% of the time was in nuclear family. So AI concludes nuclear family is the anomaly. Well, I mean, define anomaly being as 1% of not, out of 100 is, you know. So it also concluded that the burden placed on a mother, especially for raising children, is absolutely immense. It is like you have to breastfeed, take care of them, you're in a weakened state, you have to provide for them. Their humans' big brains require a lot of development, and wow, that's a lot of work, right? And well, why is it so much work? Because one, it's just you or husband who has to shoulder the burden. You don't share the burden, so every family for themselves, kind of a thing. And it's weird because you got to make money. But don't people in village have to make money too? I guess the idea is that for people to depend on all this nice stuff, like I do, to survive, so does the work needs of everyone else. So it's weird. You lose access. Funnily enough, you daycare is free in a village. It's weird to think that way. It's there by default. Not having daycare would be unusual. Um, it's not some utopian society that everyone's like, gee, happy. Everything. It's just that it's so weird. I can't wrap my head around this. Like, it's well, anyway. For statistical studies, I thought very important to look at multivariate studies instead of asking, like, if you want to look at links between, let's say, is drinking good for you? Is drinking wine does it give you a longer life? Shit, you boil it down to multivariate studies. Just go hard in the science, and it's utterly boring. They'll tell you shit like, actually, no amount of drinking is good for you. This is proven to be true, actually. And that moderate drinking, while people claim it's going to make you live longer, blah, 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 is linked to higher rates of cancer. But unpack that. What's higher? Higher is, in the case of moderate drinking for a woman, if you had a group of 100 people, and then you had a group of, and the one drank and the other one didn't, the one that drank would have 2 out of 100 cases would get liver cancer. So, is it a lot? I don't know. I guess if you really hate cancer, don't drink. I mean, but the data shows that the correlation is very strong. So while the correlation is not very high. Right, the correlation's there, but the risk increase is not that massive. Okay, it's not like 0 people go to like. So, I mean, there's so many numbers to deal with. It's not fun anymore. It's hard to create sensationalist titles from this. But the bottom line is just basically, if you don't drink at all, you can't go wrong. That's the takeaway, honestly. And I thought, pretty fascinating. I heard shit like wine's good for you. Some amount of it is. You see people with status always drinking alcohol, so. But in any case, multivariate studies, whatever. I think these are really good. You get the correlation factor from -1 to 1, where 0 means no link, -1 being negative correlation, 1 being a correlation, and the p-value indicating confidence. Children, between one quality parent and 2 unhappy parents, AI concludes 1 quality parent is far better. 2 parents, especially if they fight a lot, not good. No joke. I mean, not just we all knew this, but like this is science proving it, really. Statistical studies. Neuroticism, anxiety, poor performance academically, all those linked to having fighting parents. I had fighting parents. But I mean, like, and poor relationship with the mother, linked to neuroticism. Big 5 personality traits, neuroticism, open to something, and then there's conscientiousness, regarded as the best model for studying personality traits, used over decades. Doesn't mean it's the ultimate truth, just that it's the one that's most widely accepted. Correlation between sun signs and personality, no correlation of any significance. Correlation sun signs and interpersonal relationships, no correlation. Correlation between blood types and personality, virtually none, but some from Japanese studies, fascinating. Most of them are type A anyways. Well, if you look at science and you want to make some bombastic statements for good fun and clicks, well, science is the real party pooper here because, well, pretty much the only big one I ever saw here was at the 0.7 correlation range, smoking and lung cancer. Well, everyone knows that one. Hypergamy in women, 0.3, but going down over time as women get more and more like money, status, and that kind of thing. So, knowing that the AI has access to gargantuan amounts of data regarding multivariate studies across many correlations you want to study, you want to find, you can now discover some at least credible sources of truth on whether something is correlated with another doesn't imply causation, which is the very big gotcha there. Really, it's not that fun. Yeah, you're not really fun at parties if you're studying this shit, which is, yeah, weird. Weird how trying to get to the truth makes you a boring person. But anyway, parenting is a big one I'm always concerned about, and it turns out if you can recreate the allo-parenting environment for your kids, it's the best for them. If the goal is, I want my kid to be super rich, not the best, maybe. Well, actually, it's pretty good because apparently neuroticism is bad for everything. there's not a single good thing except for hypervigilance that comes from neuroticism. So great. Conscientiousness, highest correlation with success in life. Hardworking. You know, you want to keep things in order, do good. Just you don't want to be lazy and slack off and just you know highly correlated with success in life. Doesn't have to be massive. If you want kids to say, you know what, when they were about to die from old age, that I had a good life, allo parenting over Harvard. Between Harvard and this, so the worst possible thing I can do is probably the worst is having shitty parents and like they're thrown into like fucking like let's discard the obvious like no one's gonna ever grow up properly their environments and let's look at some environments that are like maybe good but not very absent parents who are never at home because they're too busy making money, hoping their kid will go to a great school and get great grades and go to Harvard and become a great person. Apparently, data is not in your favor. So unless you're able to secure a lot of this out parenting and all that, it's a lot of things. That's a lot of ducks to line up. So I would say that yeah, you can, but apparently that kind of stuff is just luxury. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, it's too complicated because then you think, well, really? So then you don't have to make your kid. I don't know. It's so hard to wrap your head around this, but instinctively, I feel like people I know who've grown up in larger groups of communities, who had larger families, who could play with their cousins, who could. I had nothing but my computer to keep me company my whole life, and my parents didn't accuse me of having no friends. And then I was accused of thinking too much. And I had two big disasters in life where I virtually went. Well, one was almost attempted suicide. The other one was attempted suicide, and um, they're disastrous. Honestly, both events. There's nothing really to be. I mean, yeah, you can say, yeah, you survived, you got stronger. Yeah, I'm not gonna go my deathbed saying, man, I'm glad I had those two events. Absolutely not. I'd rather not have had them at all. Um, and I feel content today because the anxiety is gone, mostly from just by rewiring my brain saying, hey, I'll take what I have now and be happy with it and try not to want much for more. But fuck, have I ever. I've been living under the. Who isn't though, right? A lot of people do, right? But like, I look at some people out there, especially here in Okinawa, and they don't have that. They're just like carefree. And well, that was okay back in the day where everyone's okay with living in a village and they don't mind pooping in like some shitty like pooping environment. If you want pristine toilets everywhere and you want quality this and that everywhere and beautiful supermarkets with shit ton of aisles and you want modern cars and glorious tech, you gotta pay the price for this. And sometimes that's hard to explain, huh? It's like Galen said at the very end. He said humans were designed just to live in villages, and that's true. You know, there's a Equalizer 3. McCall goes back to like some place in Italy. I forget where, but the whole town is shaped like a village. Everyone knows each other, and when you look at that, something inside your brain goes, "That's very nice. That's the way to live." You live in a village within walking distance, not by vehicle everywhere. And is that a happier place? Yeah, maybe. I think. The thing is like there's a hard cap on happiness, right? No matter how great that new iPhone looks, you buy it, and guess what? It's always the same thing. 2 weeks later, back to normal, right? So like this cycle is kind of weird. You know, the happiest time sometimes is just I go out and just walk, look at the sky, or stare at like the tree or something. It's really stupid, but that's when I feel like actually kind of content and happy. As stupid as it sounds, what was all this university shit for anyway? I kind of wonder, like, so we can. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love coding and shit. It's just, did we need all that pressure? Kind of wonder about that, eh? I mean, man, if you want to fly first class, then the question is, why do you have to fly anywhere? And the dream is to travel the world. I've seen people who travel the world get tired of it. It's like, okay, done. And? Yes, and? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. Just that there are some truths in the world that are really amazing, like art, and I think art is amazing. Music, and yeah, relationships with other people. These are like really great. These are good things, man. These are really good things. And to worship money, Harvard, or lavish lifestyles, I don't know, man. Some kind of thing, something's wrong with it. I've sensed it my whole life. It's like, why do people pursue this shit? I have to wonder sometimes. But anyway, it's interesting. And, Jesus, this was 99% of our history, and nuclear family 1%. And yet we celebrate it in Simpsons and all that. I mean, okay, fine. I had parents who just, they hated each other, I think, somewhere deep down inside. I don't have to tell you, man. Everything I've seen points to live in a community, a great one, a closely knit one you can see each other every day. And this whole nuclear family shit is just, I don't know. It's whatever. It's fine, but it's not some divine truth we should all pursue for sure. It's just a byproduct of an economic system, honestly. And that's about it.